It's 6:05, and I'd like to call the June 13th meeting, the Water and Sewer District to order. Let's begin, please, by approving minutes. A motion, please.
I would make a motion we approve the minutes of May 9th, 2023.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have some payroll and manifests to catch up on. Motion to approve, please.
I would make a motion we approve the payroll and accounts payable manifests that we have signed.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's get on to new business. We've got a bunch of documents to sign tonight. Most of this is ongoing financing for the various projects in order. First up is Reservoir Road Improvements Loan and Grant Documents Package. So here, we've got 2 pens in case one runs out. All right, so we have a loan agreement,
Right.
which looks like I need authorization to
Sign
sign it.
it.
Yes.
Yes, I would make a motion that we give the chair authorization to sign the Reservoir Roads Improvement Loan and Grant Documents Package, approved and authorized.
Well, in the absence of our third commissioner, I'll second that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so let me sign this.
So that one we ended up really coming out ahead on in regards to grants. The initial proposal was just for the ARPA portion of that project. We didn't get offered a loan through the SRFs. So we went back to the trust fund at DES and received a loan of $446,000
Right.
and another grant of $223,000. So we have a $669,000 in grant on that project and a loan of only $446,000.
Nice.
We like the ratio.
We
there.
like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can you do a couple more like that, please?
Yes.
We're trying.
Yeah. All right, so that's Reservoir. Next one up is Holderness Well Loan and Grants.
So that's the next pile.
Okay.
So this is all to do with Reservoir Road.
Oh, right. So continuing on with, before I get ahead of myself here, continuing on with Reservoir, we also need a motion which authorizes me to...
This one, Paul needs to authorize you because it has to be somebody other than the grant signer. So
Right.
if Paul could sign that document.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we don't really need a motion for that.
No, we
since
just need Paul
Right,
to
'cause
sign.
you-
You've already done the
Right.
motion for,
We did the
and
motion
then
for all of them.
you don't need to do anything to that except to authorize me as the record keeper to notarize it and say that I'm the keeper of the records and I say that you did the proper things to authorize borrowing.
All right, so that sounds like a motion. That sounds motionable there, actually,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we need a. This is like the chair.
Oh.
There he is.
Hey, sorry about
That's
that, guys. God, I thought it was at 5:30.
Ah,
No.
I don't know where I got that.
there's Paul.
Thank you.
So we're in the middle of the various.
Loan and grant documents.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I need a motion here to authorize Kim to be the signator and keeper of the records. This is for the
Reservoir Road.
right for Reservoir Road project, the drinking water state revolving fund. So
I'd move that.
I second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So there, Kim, you are
Thank you.
duly designated. All right. So now we can go on to the next pile, which is Holderness Well.
Do those two of the first
Oh
pile
yeah,
need
those
it?
go to Kim. Yes.
Well, did you
Oh,
sign?
oh,
So
oh,
where
oh,
there's a
oh.
red, I need Chris to sign, and then
I'll keep
you
you
either
on your
need to
toes.
authorize me to put your initials on every one of these pages, which I can do, or you need to initial every one of these 7 pages.
All right. I'll
Or you can do it later.
yeah. I'll do it later and catch up so we can move through all of this.
Okay.
That is all right. So on to Holderness Well. We've got the same lineup here. I need a motion. Let's combine the motions here. We need a motion to authorize me to sign the loan agreement for the Holderness Well loan
And grant.
loan and grant, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Loan being $2,160,000.
Just 2 million.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd make the
Yes.
motion that we authorize the chair to sign the Holderness Well loan agreement and grant documents.
And secondly, to authorize Kim to be the
Keeper of the records.
keeper of the records.
Let's sign.
Yes, I would second that. I would
I'll second that.
Add that.
add that to the
All right,
motion.
add that, seconded.
Yep.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, okay.
Jason,
Good.
do you want to give an
Sure,
update? as-
yeah,
Yeah.
so the 2.16 million is comprised of 1.2 million of emerging contaminants funds with 100% principal forgiveness, and the remaining $960,000 loan has 40% principal forgiveness. So at the end of the day, the total loan is about $576,000.
And that gets us a new water line up, what do you call it there?
This
That's
is
the
the Holderness
Holderness.
well
Yes,
Oh,
side.
this is the Holderness
For the
well.
Holderness Well
Yeah.
project to get the water line back to Foster Street to be able to treat it there.
So what's that, like a 12-inch pipe all the way from their backfields?
8-inch, I believe, from.
8-inch pipe?
Yeah.
Yeah, these pipes going in are beautiful.
All right, so there is the primary document.
That's the grant that Chris needs to sign as well.
Right. All right, yes.
And there's also an ARPA component to that as well for $240,000, which I believe that's the grant portion that Kim just referenced.
All right, well.
So you can give me back the authorization,
Right.
and then you will need to initial each of those.
Right, so I'll just
7
leave those there to catch on later. All right, so that's, and then lead service line replacements. So once again, same gig. We've got authorize me to sign the loan, and then authorize Kim to be the
Keeper of the records.
keeper of the record.
That one is loan only, but with 100% forgiveness.
We like that.
Mhm.
Yes, I like that. I'd move that as a motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
We're gonna get you out, Jason, don't worry.
No, that's all right.
All right, so there I am, that's
Okay, and
signed, and you
just
get past that
authorize
on
me.
there, okay.
Yep.
All right. On to old business. Anything?
Anything?
Yeah, we could look at some of the photos from Main Street. Tom had asked me to put together a little slideshow, so I pulled 12 photos together.
Oh, okay, good.
Main Street construction?
Yep, look at that.
Okay.
Let's see if I can share it. Okay.
That's going back. Well, look at that gooseneck, huh?
There, yeah, we have a lead component to a service that we pulled out. We've been pulling out quite a bit of lead so far, but it's not been any existing connections. So these are all were previously abandoned connections at one point in time.
That's
But
good.
we'll be getting into some of that work once they pull the existing main out.
So what is that, the copper, that's lead to copper? Plastic?
Iron.
Yeah, either lead to iron or galvanized.
Oh, I see, oh my
Yeah.
God, yep.
This is in a valve box, one of the valve boxes we couldn't access previously, just chalked up and completely broken.
That's the gate valve right there, the
Yeah.
split?
Yeah,
So have they replaced it?
I see why it
Yep.
wouldn't work.
this is during the night construction
Yeah.
right downtown where they installed 5 valves simultaneously in the one night that we worked through the night.
What, they cut the old ones out, or were they able to unscrew them, or they
Yeah,
just?
no, this was all just putting brand new valves in, so This was the critical part of the project that we had to shut down the entire Main Street
Yeah,
It
water
allows us to
for
isolate much
in
more.
order to isolate. So we had a valve on the Highland Street side, just to the left of the screen, a valve to the common side Central Business District on the center, and then here on the right we had a valve to South Main Street, and then we had another valve by Yamas that they did later on that evening.
so are those hot yet? The pipes, the feed pipes aren't hitched up, they're all hitched up and,
This intersection is completely live now.
oh, wow.
South Main Street is still on temporary water while they work that,
Yeah,
and so is north of the Rotary. But yeah, just you can see the extent of the work that needed to be done. This is
Wow.
digging for sewer right by New World Auto. This was actually taken today.
oh,
So that's moving kind of slowly along there. Is that because of the depth of the pipe?
Yep,
I've had a
The depth.
feeling that was the
the
case.
depth, you can see they had to drive sheet piling in next to the road box in order to secure the trench all the way down.
How deep is that?
This is, I'd say, probably about 12 feet deep.
Oh, okay.
It was
and that's
much-
the water pipe?
No,
Sewer.
sewer.
Sewer pipe, yeah, that's.
much deeper down by the Enterprise Center.
Yeah,
But you can see, still as it is, a lot of the material surrounding the trench have sloughed in and undercut the road in that area, so we will be replacing that entire section once we come through there.
so
Um,
a lot of the ones, a lot of the sewer pipes you lined,
Yep,
but these here these were just burned out.
these here, the existing line is on the railroad track side
Okay,
along the river. So we're actually moving that whole sewer line into Main Street from the roundabout north to Toby Road. So
Oh.
this had existing sewer that pitched towards Merrill Street and then
okay,
came under the tracks to the other side
yeah,
to service these folks. This is on South Main Street,
Right.
near our project sign and the Lucky Dog. They're digging for water main there. And now they're currently almost down just past the bistro. Today they got a couple more sticks in down there. So they're almost wrapped up on the water line on the South Main Street side.
And when will that be active?
Probably it'll take a couple more weeks because they'll have to pressurize it, test it,
Right.
flush it, chlorinate it, and then that'll be live, but then it's a process of taking folks back off of the temporary and putting them onto this
Right.
service.
Yeah, no,
So there'll be a series of holes at everyone's location, similar to what they need to go on to temporary to hook them back in.
now does water continue on up Warren?
Yes.
Water replacement?
Yep.
Yeah.
Up to Warren and Russell Street intersection.
Okay.
So this is an old piece of cast iron pipe with a lead joint. So they used to pour molten lead into the joints of these pipes in order to seal them.
And these date from what, the 20s or 30s, do we think?
Yep, we found a piece 1926.
Yeah, stamped 1926
Vintage, yeah.
on it.
Well, it have to be because it's beneath the concrete, the original
Right.
concrete surface of the road, right?
So here is the sewer line on Old North Main Street. The water line on Old North Main Street going in. So this is the 16-inch pipe coming from Foster Street, heading towards the tracks, towards the end of Old North Main.
a 16-inch pipe?
Yep.
So Foster Street's the primary wells. and
Correct.
They come out of there with 16 inches
Yep.
and goes up to,
Goes up to the intersection of Highland Street, and then from Highland Street south, it downs to 12-inch.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
But this will feed this is gonna be our main feed line from the wells to the tanks eventually on Highland Street.
And is that under the river, or is that,
Yes, they will be doing a horizontal drill right behind the office here from Foster Street to Old North Main.
to shove a 16-inch pipe through, huh?
Yeah, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. They'll be,
Great.
the drill rigs will be setting up.
That'll be worth photographing.
This is right at the roundabout, the sewer there in front of the Enterprise Center.
Yeah,
Very, very deep. I think that's a 28-foot ladder, and it's, almost fully extended.
so you replaced the manhole,
Yep.
yeah,
New manhole there.
So
see-
you can recompact all of the soil such that there won't be subsidence?
Yes, yep. They've done, a geotechnical firm has been hired to come in and do compaction testing as
Mhm.
third party. So
Mhm.
they have come in
wow.
and taken care of that.
Right, because when you're doing 28 feet, I mean, you have to, because otherwise.
Yep. Yeah, the soils that we found in the trenches have been pretty good for the most part. Haven't found a lot of organic material or clays. They've been very sandy and
Yep.
gravelly, so
Yep.
it's been good. So yeah, this is again in front of the Enterprise Center. You can see just how deep that is. I think those are 16-foot road plates driven on end.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
And then here's some of the pipelining work being done right on Main Street. This is in front of Meredith Village Bank and the Silver Center, and the sewer runs right down the middle of the road there, so they were lining from that location north to the rotary during this photo. And that's quite the process where they have to install that slip lining. It's been currently being tested and cameras and documented right now. So we've seen from what the staff say that there's been better grit capture, they think, allowing the grit now to pass through the pipe and be able to be collected at the treatment plant, whereas before it would just collect in the concrete pipe.
so it's gonna have less grit capture, yeah.
Yep.
And where do you get piece of 8-inch there, 10-inch plastic out? Isn't that the blue?
What's
Yeah, I
that?
think that was a temporary piece that was in there because they had to install a new manhole
Oh,
at this location before they slip lined it.
God.
Yeah. To ensure that there's no joints.
Yeah.
And
Just that's kind of a dumb question, but what do you do when you cut the sewer like that and it's got, 150, 100 homes on it? Must have to be running.
they bypass it.
You
Yeah,
bypass
so
it.
they had 4-inch and 6-inch pumps going at the same time, and the line was plugged,
Oh,
bypassing the section they
oh,
were
okay.
doing.
Knew you couldn't use a rubbish barrel.
Right. Yeah, I can't catch it in a bucket.
They don't make corks that big.
And, yeah, I think that's the last one. Yeah,
Very nice, Jason, thanks.
no problem.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, we can leave the rest for your superintendent report, I guess. I do want Kim to step in here on business manager items, please.
So I provided each of you with a copy of both a revenue report and expenditure report that go through May 31st.
Mhm.
From what Heidi and I have reviewed, it looks like we're in pretty good shape for that time frame. Heidi has recently done some disbursement requests from the state for some of the expenses for Holderness Well and the asset management grant, so we've been bringing in some cash, which has been good. And if anybody has questions, you can certainly get them to Heidi or I, and we can
Mhm.
answer them, but I think things look in pretty good shape for where we're at this far into the year.
Well, then also, I just signed off, so reporting wise for the loans, I know that's
Yep,
going
so,
well.
yep, Becca is, and we're also doing those top sheets, so we're
Yes.
comparing all of our top sheets to what Becca's charging for the different invoices, and we're right in line, so we're on budget update number 14.
Good.
13 that you just signed, Chris,
Yes.
finished off 2022, so it
Mhm.
was a good stopping place, which we'll give to the auditors when they're here next week.
Right.
Regina has printed off every single one, which is a case of paper, so that we have good record keeping. which I
Right.
know that was one of the things in the audit last year, was they wanted to make sure that we had good records in-house, not just at Wright Pierce.
Mhm.
So I think that we're definitely satisfying them with good
So-
record keeping.
So we do it we're reporting every 6 months or every quarter?
Becca is trying to do them monthly now because
Yeah.
the project has really ramped up. So
Right.
budget 14 was actually January to March.
Okay,
And she's working on 15 right now, which will be April and May.
okay.
So, but we're gonna try to do them monthly because, I mean, we're doing an awful lot of work with police that it's gonna add up quickly.
Yeah,
But they have to be signed off with the funding agencies, so it's a process to get all those invoices into a report, get the funding agencies to agree that everything matches, and we check it, of course, before it goes to the funding agencies, so it's quite a process, but
Right,
we're on
well-
top of it.
we gotta keep
Yep.
the cash flowing here is,
Cash is flowing in and out.
right, yes, cash balancing, I should say,
Hey,
yeah, right.
could you
right.
just help me on this? You got you didn't fill an estimated revenue, but you got
Well,
paid to date?
you have new updated copies, because
Okay,
Heidi sent these to me while I was on vacation, and when I got back, I noticed
Yeah.
that there were no revenues to offset. So she worked with Christian this week. There was a process, we were missing an MTS to pull in the estimated
oh,
revenues.
okay,
So now if you look at the new report, you will see that the revenues are actually in those categories now. Yeah, so.
oh, I
actually
just couldn't
updated you.
understand that,
Me
the way
too.
it was. I really ran my
Because
head
I
over
said
this.
to her, we've collected
It's like
nothing.
0, 0,
Wait.
and 0, 0.
Percentage is nothing, yeah, so
Yeah,
we had
okay,
a step
great.
in the software that was missing,
Sure,
Okay.
that's
so
fine.
that's been rectified this week.
Right,
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep.
The only other, just going through these line items here, there's a piece of aluminum. You got a 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch, 6-foot aluminum that costs $3.98.
Yep, that was a couple of bars of aluminum in order to modify some bar racks that we have at the pump station.
Oh, so it's like welding you gotta use it for, or like
Yeah.
that? Oh, I see, okay. Great.
We have a
Not cheap.
skilled staff
Yeah.
member on staff that is good at modifying things to make them better and easier to use.
Well, that's a handy guy to have around.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, if Kim is done, I think she is, so Jason, you can round out your
Yep.
report here on what's been going on.
So since our last meeting, we have followed up with Ref Tellis in regards to the rate study.
Yes,
And Kim and I will be meeting with him probably within the next 2 weeks to determine the next steps going forward. And then we'll follow up with the board again soon after that in order to make sure that we're keeping progress moving forward.
I'm sorry, what's Telus doing
Yeah.
there for us?
RAF
The
tells
rate.
us the rate study.
Telus is?
RAF,
Raf-
RAF
Raf-
tells.
Telus.
Tell us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're our consultant under the asset management grant
Yeah,
to provide some financial information, not just the rates, but also looking at total revenues and expenses, projecting them out over several years in
yeah.
order to try to flatten the rate as much as we can and don't experience significant increases. So
Good.
that's one of our goals. But yep, we'll work through with them. We told them that it's pertinent to get things up to speed because we will be taking on the debt next year, starting next year. So we need to have all of our ducks in a row in regards to potential for rate restructuring to cover that. We have also applied for a clean water SRF pre-application for a new solar array at several of the facilities, wastewater treatment plant, pump station 1 over here, pump station 2 across the river, and pump station 4 out on Highland Street. So we sent in an application of $756,000 for the solar array. DES will be offering a $250,000 grant up to, and we would match that with a $250,000. But on top of that, there's federal incentives out there of 30% base incentive for the solar facilities. So similar to what the town has looked at And there's about, I think, another 10 or 20% beyond that, based on our MHI, our median household income, and some of the other eligibility criteria for that funding. So at the end of the day, we may be looking at $50,000 to $75,000 local contribution on that project.
Well,
So where would,
go ahead.
where would the panels be installed? I mean, we're looking at multiple sites, or?
This is the
Yeah.
distributed solar array you're talking about?
Multiple sites, yep, it would be at the wastewater treatment plant, we'd add to the array there. We looked at a few rooftop mounts as well as post mounts.
Yes.
For here at Pump Station 1 and Pump Station 2, we looked at the potential for a post mount array at each of these locations, as well as Pump Station 4 out on Highland Street.
Mm-hmm.
They're
So
nice,
those
yeah.
will be
They hold it
smaller
right
in size,
in.
like about 16 panels or so would make up those satellite arrays here.
Right.
So our goal is to try to generate up to 80% of the total electric usage at each of these facilities, so that we keep the generation behind the meter and that we don't send it back to the grid, because
Right.
the incentives are no longer there to send it back to the grid. It's a lower rate that the
Right.
co-op would pay you. So that's how we've sized these new solar facilities to generate up to 80% behind the meter.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, it is more expensive in that, you're duplicating inverters and there's more electrical work for each of those connections, but as you say, I mean, you're using it as a direct offset.
Yep, so
Well, that's good,
that's
yeah.
in. We have finalized the cybersecurity
Yeah,
grant
it's
now.
on my list, yeah.
Yep, so both CCS, Computer Solutions, and David Savage of Saudi Solutions have come together on an agreement for primarily replacing the server here at the office and providing a backup server at the treatment plant, and then an array of cybersecurity means and methods essentially for keeping our data secure. So there's that application will be going in this week or early next week, and that's about $84,000 that will be 100% grant on.
Deadline the end of the month, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've also included the critical billing software upgrade in that proposal as well.
Hey, Jason, have you got a generator down there that can handle most of the plant?
Yes, we have the generator can handle a majority of the equipment at the plant, not 100% of it.
But it would keep it all flowing?
Yes, yep, the critical process equipment it'll handle.
Good.
We have also corresponded with the developer at Mount Frontenac. We've replied and provided the as-built drawing requirements. We've also provided those to the town because they had their list of requirements. We reconciled their list and then provided them with the specific requirements to the water and sewer. So the developer has been notified of that. I believe it will be shared at the planning board and next select board meeting as well. We have just received the Russell Street preliminary design report from Wright Pierce. So that's one of the critical roads that we're hoping to hop on with the town's drainage project. We'll be reviewing that soon. There's been some updated cost estimates on that, and we have reached out to Grenice for pricing on that. So there'll be updates to come probably within the next couple of weeks in regards to what we're gonna do on Russell Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that I have tonight.
You're first this time.
Is the town hiring Grenice to do the drainage project?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, since we have a fairly going over a little bit on the meter reading, the changes there. I mean, I think
Sure, yeah.
since we have kind of a large purchase order there and there was grant money for that, but I think it's
Yeah.
worthwhile covering that change
Sure, so the meter reading equipment that we currently have, so this is for a purchase order for new meter reading equipment.
Yes.
The meter reading equipment we currently have is no longer supported by the manufacturer. So that we've had for a number of years. I'm not sure, Kim, if you recall
Longer than me.
how long, yep.
I've been here 15
So,
years, so it's older than that.
As we've transitioned from manual read meters to radio read meters, now the equipment is such that we can read all of our radio read meters within the matter of driving by the buildings down a road, and we would pick up meters within a certain distance. So this equipment will get us that feature, but also provide us with data analysis features as well. So we can see automatically if someone has a high or a low read right out in the field, rather than having to come back to the office, download all the data for 90 days of recordings and try to pinpoint exactly where the high or low incident was. So this will enable us to read more frequently and able to capture and hopefully prevent leaks as soon as possible.
So you could just drive by the house and the radio wave is gonna be, communicate with it? How is it always pumping it out? How is it, do you go by, when you go by and activate, you activate
I
them?
believe it activates it,
Yeah,
yeah.
activates them and then they just stop the send.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just great.
So we did a demo on this equipment probably more than a year ago now, and we found it was very easy to use. The equipment had an antenna right in the truck, and I think we drove 15 minutes up Highland Street and we picked up half the town.
We even did an
Yeah.
experiment right here in the building.
What,
and
it just
picked up a huge
hits
leak.
automatically? It just goes one out, just takes
Yeah.
a,
Yep,
So,
not
yeah.
made by Huawei, is it?
Sorry?
Not made by that Huawei company. I saw that one of the things that you're not supposed to buy anything from them, made from the electronics anyhow.
Oh.
oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, like Kim said, the day we demoed it, we actually picked up a significant leak and were able to resolve it. So we figured that in the past, we have had major leaks that have been in the tens of thousands of dollars. So if we can prevent just one of those, it would pay for itself,
I
no
was gonna say,
problem.
It's gonna pay for itself.
But like Chris mentioned, this is covered by the asset management grant at 100% grant as well, so.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is there an a online component probably with an
There is, it's
annual
a,
fee or?
it's an app pretty much that you can tie into the equipment, and it's by subscription by user, yeah.
Right. Right, well, I'm sure that's reasonable, I mean, like a few thousand a year maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's under 2,000 a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
that I think we can handle.
You saved that with one leak.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a big step forward there. Not to mention the time savings, because, it wasn't that many years ago when you had crew driving around to physically looking at every meter.
Right.
yep. It used to take a couple of weeks to read, and even now they're down to under a week
Right.
with some
So
of the
now,
new
yeah, that's a
technology,
lot of
so it'll be even
man-hours.
better.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we've also received feedback from our DES water audit, which we got a grant for. A third-party engineering firm conducted a comprehensive water audit for the year 2021. And we had good remarks today that things were within the DES requirements or limits in regards to water loss. So we're doing all the right things to try to find as much lost water as possible, and meanwhile maximizing our revenue, making sure there's no apparent losses in the billing
Right.
side of things
She
as well.
indicated that Plymouth Water and Sewer might be kind of top of the list for best, so,
Nice.
Impressive.
yeah.
And that's all I have.
Well, good. Thank you for taking that extra time, because that's an important topic, I think. Just a win-win all around for operations. All right, so remaining here, we've got, we've got some purchase recs here. Let me go through what we've got. We've got 40 hours of vectoring and cleaning. That is Green Mountain Pipeline, $14,000. We've got USA Blue Book stir bars, Stir Pro Stir, etc., $236.54. Aluminum flat stock that Tom mentioned there from MSC Industrial, $398.80. Environmental Express, wastewater standard 4x 1 liter bottles, $223. I assume that's for sampling, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's for the biological chemical oxygen demand testing that we do. So it's a standard that we have to put some of the standard into a bottle and see what happens to it. And it's got
Ah,
a
I see.
certain
All right,
limit.
that's
Yeah.
that's standard solution.
Right.
Right. Okay, and then lastly, Best Buy, our array of new tablets for field operations, and that would be $6,059.82. Motion to enter into the record all these POs that we have approved.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And?
Public comment. Oh,
Aye?
I said aye.
Okay, good. All right.
Any
So, oh yeah, Mary Ann, any questions, since you're our public this evening? Oh, hang on, we gotta get you off mute. All right,
No, she's still.
no, you must be muted.
Yeah,
There we go, there we go. We can hear you.
So the 3 loans and grants, are those projects, I know they're in sort of, especially the well, have those projects all been started?
The well's been in progress for a couple of years now. We had the well development, exploration, a whole series of steps there. We're looking towards the big connection of how that gets
Right.
built into our whole system.
reservoirs in design, right? Is that, we haven't really started
Right,
reservoir, it's just,
We have a preliminary planning grants in the planning phases right now, looking to get into design within this year, because that's part of the ARPA project that is required to be completed by the end of 2026.
Mhm.
Let's see. Oh, so some of the photos are really cool, kinda, I got a front row seat to it. Once again, Granisi's done a great job, I think. Traffic, in my opinion, not backed up so much, and I think we all expected much worse, although I know it's still young in a project. To be honest though, some businesses are coming, they are having impact, negative impact. We all, June, I know personally, and for many, kind of a transition month. Students are gone, tourists haven't started, so it's a bit of a transition month. Some businesses, I think all these are small amount, but have dipped into their own personal savings, or one reported to me they had $78 in sales. So as much as it's going well, I think we all expect some impact. I just wanted to give you some feedback on that. Everybody gets it though, everybody agrees that the project needs to be done. Some of the businesses are getting together, I think, next week to see if there's ways as a group we can help mitigate. Is it more advertising, making sure people understand that we're not shut down, whatever we can come up with. So we're trying to do some stuff there. One business owner had alluded to, because the South Main Street, the work started at Yamas and now it's down by Boomerangs, I think. It gave me the impression that it was actually all done, like sewer and water. Is that true, or is it just water?
no.
No, just the water line was installed so far
Okay.
on South Main Street. They still need to do the drainage work on South Main Street. And the sewer work will come at the end, which will just be rehabbing the existing manhole, so there'll be no digging during that.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
untrained here, why don't they happen at the same time, sewer and water?
Well, we're not digging up the sewer pipe, we're just relining that, so at various points, they'll be,
Yeah.
I see.
they'll be
I see.
treating the interior surface. So as Jason said, there's no digging involved in that, but they will sweep through again the full length of South Main to do
The reconnections, yeah, for the water.
And from a personal perspective, when do you hit in front of the common?
Right now, Bernice has that slated for the September timeframe, August, September. Yeah.
Okay. Good for me.
And then how about South Main for the stormwater? What's the timing? Do we know that?
I'm not sure exactly what the timing is on that right now. My understanding is they have started construction on the detention pond.
Right.
And are starting to work up Warren Street, heading that way,
Where's the retention pond?
Down by the skate park.
down by the skate park.
The skate park.
I saw that 3-foot culvert you put in there, that was going under the,
That's the town's project for drainage.
Yep.
and they're gonna create a retention pond, or it is down there now? They're gonna create it?
They're gonna create one,
They're
yeah.
gonna create one, okay, yeah.
Yep.
So generally speaking, I'm guessing that laying stormwater pipe probably goes a bit faster than sewer, water, perhaps?
No, not generally.
Not generally? Okay.
Generally, water would go in quicker than stormwater.
Okay,
But,
I would've guessed
yeah, I'm
that
not
too.
sure what their means and methods are for installing the drainage in South Main Street. I know there was a few conflicts that needed to be resolved between the water and the drainage, and they have worked through some of that, over this past week.
right. I mean, they did go pretty fast down South Main Street. I mean, that was
Yes,
impressive.
the water line can go very fast.
Right.
Yeah, what's that?
They're,
What's that? For
uh,
my untrained eye.
they don't have to worry about slope or pitch as much. They can run
Oh, true, right.
pretty flat
Right, that's a
through
good
there.
point, yeah.
And it's not as deep as some of the sewer that they have installed by the Enterprise Center and such, so
Yep.
as we start coming up in elevation there, going north on Main Street, they'll also have to pick up some of the services that come across there. So as soon as they move forward with sewer, they also have to pick up the services, where unlike water, they can come back afterwards and tie everything
I
back
see,
in.
okay.
Yeah.
So-
And just one last one. Neil MacGyver last night, when select board members brought up a concern, and Jason or someone else may have already heard these concerns. He went through and listed all the gas stations, garages that have been on Main Street. An enormous amount, like 26 of them.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's a crazy amount. He had raised a concern, and I know he talked to Scott Wheaton, about some of the drainage and gas that would have leaked, oil that would have leaked into the ground. And he thought maybe it was a good time while we're digging up to do some testing. Although Joe Bagnan stood up and said, I guess normally you would smell that, or there's a visual observation.
Yeah, but
And I guess I just wanted your feedback. I guess Jason.
I also spent a number of years on working for an environmental engineering company, so yeah, you'd smell it.
Yes,
First of all,
so
but
there's
typically, whenever a property is transacted, in a commercial property setting, you have to do a phase 1 or phase 2 investigation to assure that there is no contamination. That's
Many of
typical.
those were before any of those rules came into effect.
Right,
And
I know.
we've had a pump that they had to vote on at town meeting to test it every year for probably 20 years down by the highway department. Because it was a $61 article on the warrant that we were reimbursed by the state that people argued about every damn year when I was monitoring. So I'll tell you some cute stories about it later. But yeah, I know they've been aware of that and they've been following it for years and testing. And about 8 years ago or 9 years ago, we didn't have to test any longer because they couldn't find anything. They did like 8 or 10 years in a row without any significant.
Right.
Yeah, some of the existing impacted sites, Marianne, are currently under monitoring from my observations around
Right.
town. They have what they call monitoring wells installed around wherever the impacted soils were. And they come through on an annual or biannual basis, and an engineering firm comes through and tests that groundwater.
Okay.
Which is typical of any impacted site, but my
Oh,
understanding
go ahead,
is
okay.
there was no impacted sites within the project limits that we were aware of at the beginning of the project. So we underwent an environmental review of the entire area, and I believe they determined that there was no impacted sites that we would be interrupting.
Yep.
I'm kind of right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good to know. He was very concerned.
But yeah, there are a few active sites downtown, for sure.
And,
Yep.
and who actually monitors them? Is that a state?
The property owner or business owner would hire a third-party engineering
Yep.
firm to come in and provide the sampling and analysis, and then they would have to report to the state. I believe if you go to DES's website, you can search petroleum impacted sites, and they have an interactive map that comes up as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we have similar wells out at the transfer station.
Yeah, the old landfill, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, cool. That's
We
all
pay
I
every
have.
year
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yes.
Well, I think that's everything.
Very good.
So next meeting is July 11th at 5 p.m. And until then,
Motion to adjourn.
yes, at 10.
Second that.